Hello student, good morning. I hope you all will be good. So as in the history we were discussing how the Indian sepoys who were recruited in the company, how they raised their voice against the British rule from the different parts of the country, and how they attacked the British officials, and how they just ransacked, and how they just seized their arms and ammunitions. We have discussed these all the things in the previous video. Now in the next video they have given the company fights back. Now company also wanted to stop these rebellions from the different places. Which sort of the initiatives have been taken by the company to just suppress the revolutionaries. Okay, then unawed by the scale of upheaval, the company decided to repress the revolt with its all mights. With its all mights, mean to say, with its all possibilities, with its all power, the company now wanted to suppress, to repress, to just dominate, to just remove the that rebels and to these revolutionaries from the different places of the country. It brought reinforcement from England, passed new laws so that the rebel could not be convicted with ease, then moved into the storm centers of the revolt. Delhi was recaptured from the rebel forces in September 1857. Mean to say, by getting the reinforcement, by getting the support from the British crown, from the England, so what happened? New law was passed that the rebels could be convicted with ease. They can be convicted by the company officials, and they just what happened that British army got and the British East India Company got the permission to just attack on the storm centers from where the that is revolt originated. So these all the places were just attacked and recaptured by the Britishers. That is why one example they have given here. Now, Delhi was recaptured from the rebel forces in September 1857. Then the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, was tried in court and sentenced to lifetime imprisonment. So what happened after this one? Bahadur Shah Zafar, who again supported by the rebellions, so that person was just convicted and got the punishment, lifetime this one imprisonment. And what happened after this one? He and his wife Begum Hazinat Mahal were sent to prison in Rangoon in October 1858, and Bahadur Shah Zafar died in Rangoon jail in November 1862. So they have shown here about the Bahadur Shah Zafar, how that person imprisoned and they were kept in the Rangoon. After this one, after 4 years, he got died in the same jail. Then the recapture of Delhi, however, did not mean that rebellion died down after that. It doesn't mean as the company just control over the this one Delhi. It has been again just captured by the Britishers. So it doesn't mean that means whoever the rebellions were there, whoever the just raising their voice against the Britishers, it doesn't mean they have just stopped their revolt. That people continued to resist and battle the British. The people, they just continued with the opposition and with the just fighting with the Britishers. The British had to fight for 2 years to suppress the massive force of popular rebellion. So the Britishers, what they did, they had fight with the Indians continuously 2 years to suppress the revolt, to just suppress the revolt. And what happened after this one? That suppressed the massive that is forces of the popular rebellion, as in a huge number, many of the people from the different places, they have just joined the revolt. So for suppressing them, so it took 2 years for the Britishers. Then Lucknow was taken in March 1858. Rani Lakshmibai was defeated and killed in June 1858. Like means in the different places, as we have discussed earlier as well, different persons were just leading the rebellions. So Lucknow was also taken by the Britishers in March 1858, and the Rani Lakshmibai was defeated by the Britishers and killed in June 1858. A similar fate awaited Rani Avanti Bai, who after initial victory in Kheri Okay, as initially he won the war with the Britishers, but similarly later on he also defeated by the Britishers. What happened? See, chose to embrace death when surrounded by the Britishers on all sides. Means this particular lady was surrounded by the Britishers at the time, and she herself decided to kill herself. Tatya Tope escaped to the jungles of central India and continued to fight a guerrilla war with the support of many tribal and peasant leaders. So Tatya Tope, he just ran away from there and mainly in the forest areas of the central India, and he continued to fight against the Britishers with the support of the many tribal and peasant farmers and peasants over there. He was captured and tried and killed in 18 April 1859. He was also captured by the Britishers. Finally, he was also killed by the Britishers in April 1857. Okay, after this one, just as victory against the British had earlier encouraged rebellion, the defeat of rebel forces encouraged, that is desertion. It means to say, just as victories against the Britishers, whatever in the initial time, whatever the means that is victories which were received by the rebellions, it just increased these people. And earlier means in the beginning they got some kind of the courage to fight against the Britishers. The defeat of the rebel forces encouraged desertion. Means to say, as they once they just defeated by the Britishers, so it just make their hope down, mean to say. Then the British also tried their best to win back the loyalty of the people. So what happened after this one? The Britishers, they wanted again the same loyalty of the people, to win their loyalty again back. That is why they announced rewards for loyal landholders would be allowed to continue to enjoy traditional rights over their lands. So for this one, what the Britishers did, they just rewards to all the landholders over there. So what this one thing they have given? They have given the right to them to continue enjoy their traditional right over their lands. Those who had rebelled were told, who were against the British rule, so they were told if they submitted to the British and if they had not killed any white people, so they would remain safe and their rights and claims to land would not be denied. So these people, the other persons, what they have made the rule, so that has been made. So they were submitted to the Britishers, means they have surrendered against the Britishers in front of the Britishers, as well as if they haven't killed any white people and they have rebelled against the Britishers, so their rights would not be denied. Then nevertheless, hundreds of sepoys, rebels, Nawabs and Rajas were tried and hanged. So what happened after this one? Many of these hundreds of the people, these were captured by the Britishers and they were hanged. They were killed by the Britishers. And after this one, what happened? That thing has been given here. Okay, let's have a discussion over it. The British has regained control of the country by the end of 1859, but they could not carry on ruling the land with the same policies anymore. Although they have got the right, again they have control over the country after 2 years, that is the end of the 1859. But what happened? But they couldn't carry the same ruling over the lands, which were over the land, whatever the policies they had made earlier. So given below, there are the important changes that were introduced by the Britishers. So after this one, we saw the changes that introduced and that was just implemented by the Britishers in our country. These all the things have been given. The first they have given here, the British Parliament passed a new act in 1858 and transferred the power of the East India Company to the British Crown in order to ensure a more responsible management of Indian affairs. So what happened earlier, before it, 1857, the power was with the company. Whatever the company wanted, so according to them, they are ruling and they are controlling over the subcontinent. But after this one, what happened? The power has been transferred from British East India Company to direct to the British Crown. Now, the British Crown, the British, whether that is king or queen, making the rules and regulation for ruling over the country, for managing the Indian affairs. A member of the British cabinet was appointed Secretary of State for India and made responsible for all matters related to the governance of India. So one of the committee, secretary of members of the British cabinet, this has been made, and State for India, this particularly Secretary of State for India, this committee has been just organized. This committee has been just appointed for making responsible to the particular committee to just for ruling over the country, for the governance of our country. He was given a council to advise him called the Indian Council. This particular means the head of this particular council have given some powers and called the Indian Council. The Governor General of India was given the title of Viceroy. Means 1858, these all persons were known as the Governor General. Now the title has been transferred and it has been changed into Viceroy. Then after this one, that is a personal representative of the crown. Viceroy means to say a personal representative who is representing the British crown. Through these measures, the British government accepted direct responsibility for ruling India. So through these all the measures, so the British government mainly took the charge of all the responsibility to rule over our country. The second point, all ruling chiefs of the country were assured that their territory would never be annexed in future. Whoever the local ruling chiefs in our country, whoever the local rulers were there of the country, so they were make sure that their territory, whatever their kingdom was there, it would never be annexed in future. That will be not mingle in British, in British territory. Okay, then they were allowed to pass on their kingdom to their heirs, to their successors, including adopted sons as well. Mean to say, if king will get died or king or queen, so his or her son will be the next king or next crowned in the particular local territory. This have been allowed by the Britishers. However, they were made to acknowledge the British Queen as their sovereign paramount. Okay, although this power has been given, they can be continue to rule over their territories. But the thing is that means the supreme power, the paramount means to say the supreme power, all the power rests within in the British crown. Thus, the Indian rulers were to hold their kingdom as subordinates of the British crown. So thus, same like this, whoever the Indian rulers were there, they had to work under the observation, under the supervision of the British crown. Okay, then third point they have given, it was decided that the proportion of Indian soldiers in the army would be reduced and the number of European soldiers would be increased. And it has been also decided by the British Parliament. So the Indian soldiers will be reduced in the British Army and European soldiers will be increased in the British Army. It was also decided that instead of recruiting soldiers from Awadh, Bihar, Central India and South India, more soldiers would be recruited from among the Gorkhas, Sikh and Pathans. So this has been also decided at the time from the different parts, like they have given the name, different provinces like Awadh, Bihar, Central India, they will not recruit more soldiers. They will recruit, the more soldiers will be selected from the, that is from Gorkhas, from Sikhs, from Pathan communities. Then next point what was decided, that is the land and property of Muslim was confiscated on a large scale and they were treated with suspicion and hostility. So land and the property, this was just by the Britishers. It was just seized, confiscated mean to say here seized by the Britishers, and who were suspected over there, they were treated very badly. The British believed that they were responsible for the rebellion in a big way. So at that time, the British thought whatever the revolt that occurred in 1857, the British thought that these were the main main responsible for spreading the revolt in the country. Then next point, what they decided, the British decided to respect the customary religious and social practices of the people in India. whatever the religious beliefs, whatever the custom and tradition were being followed by the Indians at that time. So these must be respected by everyone. Then next, policies were made to protect landlords and zamindars and give them security of rights over their lands. So some policies were made also there. So for protecting the landlords over there and the zamindars and give them the security of rights over their lands. They got the rights over their lands. Thus, a new phase of history began after 1857. So these sort of the changes when the power were transferred from Governor General to direct to the British Crown. So these major changes were taken by the British Council, mainly which came to be known as Indian Council. So by this one, these major changes were taken by the British Crown. After this one, you can see downside the map has been shown from where the rebellion spreads in the country of the different places, mainly in the north part of our country. So you can check it and you can also make it in your notebook. Okay. After this one, a case study has been given, the Khudra uprising, the Khudra communities this is about the Odisha. Okay, this is the part of, it is a small kingdom in the Odisha, and what happened over there. So you may directly go for this case study and you may just observe what happened over this particular kingdom in the Khudra, that is in Odisha. And downside they have shown about the China. During the same time in 1857, some kind of the changes that also took part in the China. Okay, so you may go for these all the things. Then we will go for question and answers later on. Okay.